Greetings, everyone. This is the Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We don't have too big of a haul this week, but decently sized. So let's get started. Kicking things off, we've got Legion of X, number 2. Where we left off, the big plot point from when we left off was there's an entity roaming Krakoa referred to by many as the Skinjacker. Seems to possess and to possess mutants, causing them to harm themselves or others. Meanwhile, on the astral plane, Legion has encountered a being known as what did they call her? Mother Righteous, who seems to be more than happy to offer fortune, glory, whatever, to those who ask. So we begin with on the beach in the astral plane. The beach, which is a luminal boundary of the astral plane and the altar. Mother Righteous tries to further talk Legion into accepting a deal, and ends up showing him something that Blindfold apparently saw, a vision of him seemingly in charge of Krakoa, saying, "To me, my X-Men." But Blindfold tries to be a voice of reason to him. Before she leaves, and shortly after that, David simply asks Mother Righteous what her price is. There's some notes on gods by Dr. Nemesis, which ends up coming up with the concept of if all memory of, say, Thor were deleted from the minds of mankind, would he then cease to exist? Say it's a fun idea and they should try. In the Green Lagoon, Kurt, Sage, and weaponless Zen are discussing the Skinjacker case, while Black Tom and Juggernaut share drinks. But Banshee walks up to their table, asking some very probing questions of Sage concerning the point. When he's invited to join Tom and Kane, Banshee spits in a cup and says that he doesn't sit with primitives. At the altar, Forget-Me-Not and Lost and some of the others are talking with Polly, the diminutive mutant who had been brought in on a first law violation in the first issue, when Blindfold shows up. Back at the Green Lagoon, Kurt and Sage seem to be getting a little close when she gets an alert that someone's breaking into the point. That someone, being weaponless Zen, well, the point isn't without his defenses. For example, a certain highly intelligent, currently morally questionable, and occasionally feral mutant beast. Weaponless Zen does manage to get a hit, manage to cut him, actually hamstring him, but she even states, that but he states that he can easily kill her without his legs. And they seem to have each other in a kind of in a position where neither one's going to walk away or be dragged. Neither one's going to be leaving of their own power, basically. There's observations on the Skinjacker case from Beast. His directive is to, quote unquote, leave it to Kurt and his emo cops. But turns out that Weaponless Zen wasn't the first unauthorized visitor to the point, the other one being Banshee. You catch up with Banshee seemingly committing self-harm when Juggernaut lands on top of him. But the Skinjacker takes over Juggernaut, and Pixie and Lost try to deal with him. Though apparently Pixie's soul dagger is taken by the Skinjacker as it leaves Kane's body. In the point, apparently, Nightcrawler found a Hand of Glory. And they look at the sigil that was being painted on the ground in Banshee's blood. On the astral plane, Legion is being told the price and presumably considering Mother Righteous's offer. But he shows up at the altar. And Kurt, Nightcrawler and Banshee discuss what was happening. Weaponless Zen is coy about having managed to get any information from the point, but Kurt just flat out asks her, and she states that she'll let Kurt give her a massage, and if he's lucky, perhaps something will slip out. But one thing of note is the fact that Weaponless Zen is along, and it appears that possibly a god that approached the people of Morocco has made its way to Krakoa. I would say current theory is that Mother Righteous is said deity. But Mother Righteous then appears at the end of the issue. Mother Righteous appears to Banshee, stating that Banshee's isn't really about ambition. He spent his whole bloody career trying to impose order on chaos. Then when it comes to it turns out that he's not even in control of his own life. And she offers him help. such clarity, such power. Banshee'd never be alone again. She asks him what that's worth. Which brings us to the end of the issue. Interesting, and like I said, I'm kind of getting the feeling that the fugitive god from Morocco is in fact Mother Righteous. Let's see how that plays out. I'm definitely enjoying everything with Weaponless Zen and Kurt, but I would also potentially assume that as Sage has stated on a few occasions that she's had some drunken lapses of late, that one said drunken lapse was about to be. She was about to have one said drunken lapse when the point was broken into, and possibly there was also one between her and Banshee. Anyway, moving on to our next book, though, we've got Marauders number 3. Where we left off, the Marauders were adrift in space, with spacesuits at least, so they weren't suffocating. But after having been seemingly defeated by the Crimson Kin, with the exception of Cassandra Nova, who went planetside to fight one member of the Kin. So we get some. Eric the Red is praised for what he's done. He's gotten the Mysterium puzzle box back. It's also revealed that Deathbird's kidnapping at the end of Secret X-Men was a plot of the Crimson Kin. Planetside, Cassandra Nova's dealing with another member of the Crimson Kin, and deals with said member quickly. Well, maybe not quickly, but makes short work, but still takes time to enjoy her meal. Gladiator has the Marauders are under the care of the Shi'ar, and they promptly end up having to fight Gladiator, with Tempo briefly taking him down by aging his arm a millennia just to dust his fist. And that took everything she had. That took everything out of her. Cassandra Nova shows up. And is able to counteract Gladiator's abilities when the Empress Zandra arrives, whom it should be noted as Cassandra's niece. And though she's been under the advisement of Delphos' Crimson Kin, that ends. With Zandra saying that the Shi'ar will no longer hide from their secrets. Delphos is dealt with, and the Marauders and the Empress head to the crag where this shameful secret is kept. The crag being basically a planet-sized prison. The ship lands, and nobles of King Crimson say they are executing Majestic Zandra's sentence for treason, shooting her as the issue ends. I might not be 100% sold on Orlando's run on Marauders, but it is definitely keeping me in. It's keeping me in. I still think that Gary Duggan's run was better, but at the very least we are getting what does appear to be a rather important X-Men storyline. So yeah, it's still an enjoyable read. So Which brings us to our next book, The Amazing Spider-Man, number 3. Or, 897, going by legacy numbering. Where we left off, Spider-Man had been captured by Tombstone. So the issue begins. Mary Jane's boyfriend goes to see Peter, wanting to talk to him, basically get him to stop calling MJ. The collection agency guy's waiting for him. And it seems that Mary Jane's boyfriend is actually kind of a nice guy. He even offered to pay off the collection agent to get to stay off Peter's case. But Peter's not home, and because he's been taken prisoner and is being held in a subway tunnel by Tombstone's men. Tombstone beats the shit out of him. And teach Spider-Man a lesson. In upstate New York, Randy Robertson is at a diner with his girlfriend, Tombstone's daughter, Janice Lincoln. And rather than while they're there with Randy having the intention of proposing to Janice, instead Janice proposes to him. And Randy also calls his father, but the phone's ringing, but there's no answer. Tombstone regales Spider-Man with a story of his past, while having all of his henchmen put on roses to make it seem as though Richard Fisk, the Rose, did something terrible. On the other side of town, Robbie Robertson is in a limo, but there's no. Apparently, he hasn't been getting service on his phone. But the limo stops, and apparently they have to pick up another passenger. The other passenger being White Rabbit, who explains that Tombstone wants to see him, and they're already late. So the story that Tombstone tells Spider-Man about his past. So Tombstone is an African American man who is also an albino. Because he was different, as a child he was bullied. Often not making it to school with his lunch money. And one day, looking in the mirror, he took a file and filed his teeth. He was fairly soft-spoken. So the next time bullies got up in his face, he made them when he tried to say something, he made them get close. And once one of them did, well, he bit the kid's ear with his newly filed teeth. But he kept the whisper, saying that he decided that if someone has business with him, they're going to be close enough to feel his teeth. By high school, he was eating well and eating off everyone. His appetite grew, but it's always about the same thing: seeing that he had enough, doing what it took to keep it, fighting the good guys who would never understand. After explaining all this to Spider-Man, Tombstone and his henchmen go off to frame the Rose, leaving some down in the subway tunnel to take care of Spider-Man. And that is where the issue ends. Clearly, Spider-Man doesn't survive, but good issue. I feel like it's definitely going for more of a slow burn, kind of set up, kind of what we've already been given a mystery, but now it's a case of, okay, well, what do we do to just, what story do we tell to distract, to, so we can hold that mystery, we can hold off on explaining that mystery. The information about Tombstone was interesting. I'd never really read much when it came to Tombstone's origins over the years. A lot of the stories I read with Tombstone were more already firmly established as being one of Spider-Man's major organized crime foes. So it was the little bit of story was, or his origins on him was interesting. The basic idea of his origin had been fleshed out for years, but yeah, that little bit was definitely interesting. Anyway, moving on to our next book, though, we've got Venom, number 8. Where we left off was with Dylan, and well, this issue focuses on Eddie. Eddie Brock was seemingly killed, and he woke up in a garden at the end of time, the garden of a being known as Meridius. Meridius, it turns out, is also manipulating events that is trying to manipulate events in the present concerning Eddie's son Dylan. In the garden, however, everyone in the garden is not just a symbiote host, but rather another King in Black. Eddie got into a fight with some of them, but most notably one named Bedlam, who now is seemingly in the present going after Dylan. So Eddie's meditating, trying to center himself. For some reason, he can't hear his other anymore. He can't hear. There's inside his head is silent. It kind of makes him feel alone. He even says that he hasn't felt that alone since the day he discovered this. Since the day the symbiote found him. But he goes into a pond and comes out in a symbiote form, and aboard a spaceship. Massive intergalactic battle going on outside. It's explained that the symbiote is a War Star combat Clintar. War Star class Type 2 battle Clintar. But Eddie wades through a bunch of soldiers on the ship, but there's a red symbiote. A Type 4 battle Clintar. And so Eddie ejects it into space and moves through, encountering seemingly the ship's commander, Kang. Kang's treating him like an old friend, though the two of them do have a bit of a sword fight. Apparently, at some point in Eddie's future, him and Kang actually become fairly close. Kang's past, obviously. It's explained they're in the Earth year wise. They're at the point they're at is the 602nd century. But Kang cuts off one of Eddie's hands with symbiote, and also by hitting him with the sword he used, Time Sword, it pinned Eddie's temporal form to this moment of now. And Kang offers to begin helping Eddie, but there's someone he has to talk to first. Meridius. I can't say I'm entirely surprised. Yeah. I do really. This was an interesting issue, and I especially like the way they the way that the Venom Kang dynamic was portrayed. You've got Venom, who knows who Kang is, but he's never he's never really like directly dealt with Kang. Whereas at that point in time, Kang has many fond memories of Eddie. So yeah, it's kind of the Doctor Who. It's kind of like with Doctor Who, the Doctor and River Song. When the 10th Doctor met River Song, it was at the end of River's life. Though it was made clear that she had known the Doctor for quite some time. Hence, River continuing to show up at earlier points in her life, especially with at least with 11. I kind of like it makes for a fun dynamic where. But otherwise, I'm really enjoying the new Venom series. It seems that a lot of the cosmic time travel stuff is being handled by Al Ewing, whereas the stuff involving Eddie, whereas everything involving Dylan is being handled by Ram V. So, but either way, we're getting Brian Hitchcock work, no matter who the writer is. So yeah. Moving on to our last book for the moment, we have Dark Crisis, #1. That's right, we're interspersing the DC books, well, some of the DC books, into the videos with our Marvel books, because it's my decision, my channel, I'll do it. If that's how I want to do it this time, that's how I want to do it this time. So, there's a lot of stuff to go over right quick. Dark Crisis. The most recent thing is that in a battle against Pariah and the forces of the Great Darkness, the Justice League, with the exception of Black Adam, were seemingly killed. It's unclear if Justice League Incarnate was also killed, though they were present for the battle. We've had it because of this. We've had some sources such as in the Road to Dark Crisis Justice League one shot, for example, stories where doomsday cults seem to be really ramping things up, like as though the end were nigh. Also, Deathstroke was recently killed and resurrected in a Lazarus pit with the intention of killing them all. Which he stated after walking out of the pit, after the pit itself had turned black. So, the issue begins with Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson is basically there's a memorial service for the Justice League, and Dick Grayson talks about when he became Robin, saying, "Even though we operate in the dark, it all started with a light. After my parents died, my whole world had gone dark, and I felt so lost. But then I took an oath to carry on in my parents' memory and the legacy Batman had created. From that light, I watched our world grow. There were aliens, Amazons, gods, royalty from under the sea, super scientists and space cops, all trying to help the world be the best it could be. I saw the generations come together with new faces and new backgrounds, all with a mission to not only bring justice, but also a hope that shined brighter than any candle ever could. But the darkness never goes away. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Jon Stewart, Green Arrow, Black Canary, Aquaman, Hawkgirl, Zatanna, and Martian Manhunter. You could never question what they stood for, what they meant to the world. I know to many of you here, I know to so many of you here today, they were more than just mentors. They were fathers, mothers, friends, family. There will be hard days ahead of us, but I promise you, if we work together, hope will fuel the light that pushes us through the darkness, just as that candle did the day I took my oath. As long as we continue to fight and keep these candles burning, the Justice League's legacy lives on. And watching from a building across the street from the Hall of Justice is Slade Wilson and a few members of his secret society. As Slade blows out the candle he's holding. But we get Flash, Wally West, and Superman, John Kent, dealing with Cobra, weeks later. Um, there's other things such as we see Green Lantern's Guy Gardner, Jessica Cruz, and it looks like Simon Baz dealing with an interstellar threat. Frankenstein dealing with a mystical threat of some type. Dr. Light and Katana dealing with Hive. But in the middle of Superman and Flash dealing with Cobra, Hal Jordan shows up. And he asks a simple question: where is the Justice League? And Black Adam, still recovering from his injuries, recaps you of Justice League number 75. Hal Hal thinks that Black Adam's bullshitting. Various sources are asked: Dr. Fate, the Atoms, Dr. Chase, the DEO, even Captain Cold. Hal suggests that Barry do that Wally do what Barry would do: look at the crime scene and follow the evidence. With Hal saying they don't know if this darkness has really been defeated. So he tells Wally to, look for the crime scene, find Barry, and Hal will find the perp. But so Hal and Wally leave with John wondering what, with everything ramping up, what do we do? And looking at the recently unveiled statues of the recently deceased members of the League, he gets an idea. And so he goes down to Brazil, where Yara Flor, the new Wonder Girl, is dealing with a demon. Helps Yara deal with that demon and offers to and invites her to join. Tells her that he's putting together a new Justice League and asks her to join. She laughs. And it's like, no. But she wishes him luck. In New York, John makes his next recruitment stop with Batman, Jace Fox. Batman is on the trail of the Trigger Twins. And John stops them, kind of messing up Batman's plan of tracking down the Trigger Twins to their supplier. But John makes his speech, finishing up with Superman needs a Batman, and Jace tells him not this one, suggesting that John go ask one of the Robins. At the last Batman to team if anyone died. But we see him asking various others. Dr. Light, Camille Hoshi, who's in. Swamp Thing, no. Harley Quinn, who's just like, really? The newer Green Lantern, I wish I could remember her name, but she's a little busy at the moment. Damian, Damian tells John that he supports John, but Batman isn't dead. Killer Frost, who wouldn't mind a second chance. Supergirl, he's not sure, she just got back. Aqualad, who's absolutely in. The Flash family, who are going with Wally to find Barry. Peacemaker, who says country before multiverse. Vixen, who's doing what she can to help people whose homes are being destroyed by these attacks. Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes, he's in. Firestorm can't after something that occurred recently with him. Naomi, who says that she should have been there. Shazam, who isn't entirely keen on the idea of trusting Black Adam. And Blue Beetle and Booster Gold, who fist bumps while saying bros. Then John introduces the new Justice League to Black Adam. Harley seems particularly unenthused to be a member. Also, it seems Frankenstein and Robin are there. Black Adam doesn't think that this league that John has formed is a Justice League. Sure, they're heroes, but they're not a Justice League. Saying that the world needs capable protectors, not children. As Black Adam flies off, he tells John that they both know who should lead a new Justice League. Nightwing. And to be completely honest, I don't disagree. I really don't. Nightwing's Nightwing. Him not even being on the team is just kind of, no, he should absolutely be there. But he's at Titans Academy, working through helping to train a new generation of heroes. When one of the Chupacabras shows up, bleeding, explaining that he was attacked, and a bomb has been strapped to him. A bomb which goes off as the Secret Society attacks Titans Academy. The Secret Society, under the leadership of Deathstroke, basically, whose directive is targets are anyone who ever called themselves a Titan. Others will come to save them, and the society will take care of them too. The teachers are to be left to Deathstroke. Apparently, Beast Boy I think he's going by Changeling. Changeling was trying to spy on the Secret Society, and some of the members grabbed him and bring him to Deathstroke. Changeling says that Slade can destroy Titan's Tower all he wants, but then let's rebuild it again. Deathstroke points a gun at Changeling's head and says he's not going to destroy the tower. Notice Sam is a bloody warning to anyone who tries to pick up a torch and put on a costume. And then he fires. Multiverse 2. Pariah is watching everything that's occurred with the multiverses. But and he remarks that hope is the greatest force in the multiverse, and he's going to turn it into a weapon. Once the skies turn red, they'll be brought to Earth Zero. And Pariah says he will use the deaths of the Justice League to destroy the multiverse. And that is where the issue ends. Solid kickoff. Very solid kickoff to Dark Crisis. It'll be interesting to see where the rest of the story goes. As I recall, there's a list of tie-ins, which, yes, I'll be picking those up as well. Let's see. Yeah, this month we've got Dark Crisis, Young Justice #1, and The Flash 783. So, yeah. This isn't going to be a huge tie-in event like most other mega crossovers, from the looks of things. So, but anyway, that is going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.